I am delighted to share this video with you as Iceland and the United States celebrate 70 years of diplomatic relations. These stories show the meaning of this partnership to individuals here in Iceland, and I am certain that there are many individuals in the United States who have similar stories.
Years ago, when I started working for Icelandair, a colleague of mine who's retired since, a role model, she told me that every layover in the US she looked upon as a quality time. She inspired me. I wanted to do the same for myself. I wanted to use the 24 hours or so that I had in the US to do something special, to get to know the places I went to and see them more thoroughly. And I've done that ever since. I go places, I see things, I go to museums, to special coffee houses, even though it's something that I do for 20 minutes, I do it.
Now this anniversary gave us in the Reykjavik University's RoboSub team a chance to apply for a very generous grant, US Department of State, which we luckily received, and allowed us to move both the boat and a large team to compete in the annual RoboSub competition held in San Diego, California. The overall experience was a very good one. Everybody came back really happy with fourth place out of almost 30 competing teams.
I completed my master's and PhD in ecosystem ecology from Yale University in the year 2000, and since then I have been working in close cooperation with my former professors and other American researchers on scientific papers and books.
I was lucky enough myself to be accepted into Georgetown University in Washington, D.C., which was a fantastic experience. It was a setting where I got access to professionals and academians in the field. I got to study with kids from all over the US and also from all over the world who were thinking about the same things as I was. And it was an experience that I would recommend to anybody else. That is why I think the US is one of the #1 destinations for higher education in the world today.
28 years ago, I was so lucky to get a scholarship to go to America, to Maine, to Haystack Mountain School of Art, to study there an art that is not known in Scandinavia, which is the Native American way to do things, in ceramics, of course. And I was so lucky to learn this, bring it back to Iceland, and have an exhibition in the Nordic House of those pieces. And I still think it's maybe the best I have ever done.
I spent almost 25 years working at the US Naval Base at Reykjavik as a public affairs officer. And that's where I received my professional training. So the base obviously had a great impact on my life, both professionally and personally. This was a very interesting time in public affairs on the base. We saw the height of the Cold War during the early 1980s, and then progressively the fall of the Soviet Union and the end of the Cold War. Ending in the absence of threat to Iceland.
Skipverjinn sem bjargað var af Svanborgu SH á strandstað undan Öndverðarnesi á föstudagskvöld.
10 years ago I was Iceland's fisherman, and in the morning we go to the fish, and when the night comes we get the bad weather and the engine meltdown, and we drift to the cliff. I managed to climb up to the roof of the boat, but my friends got not so lucky and they don't survive. I was waiting there for 2.5 or 3 hours, and then the Icelandic rescue team come on the cliff. Then I saw the light from American Air Force helicopter, and that was very good size of seeing the light from them. All of a sudden, I see the guy hanging on the helicopter coming down, and he stopped like 2 or 3 meters over the boat, and all of a sudden he like fell down on the roof. Finally, we got the cable loose, and me and him stuck together, and then they just raised the helicopter up and put me into the shore. If this guy was not here in Iceland when this accident happened, I wouldn't survive this.
En sigmaðurinn náði að losa hann með ótrúlegum hætti.
Hann bara hetja.
I would definitely consider US a viable option for continuing my graduate education after I finish my bachelor's here in Iceland. There are some very nice schools both on the west and the east coast that I would definitely consider looking at.
I think we can learn a lot from American cooperation in farming, especially land stewardship, which I think is a concept that we need to introduce more in Iceland. But also Americans are some of the leaders of the world in terms of wetland conservation and wetland reclamation. And I think we could really benefit from further and closer cooperation in those issues.
I learned from them to support each other, and especially if you look up to somebody and you think he or she is doing well, you should tell him, you should support him, clap him on the back, but not try to bring him down, which is something, it's hard enough to be an artist. So you have to stand together, and that's something Americans really know how to do.
My own family's history with the US was affected by this relationship between the US and Iceland. My grandfather's brother went during the Second World War to Chicago to do his specialization studies in medicine. My own father went to New York to Union Theological Seminary to do his degree in sacred theology. I myself was therefore always drawn towards the US as a destination for higher education.
Together, we have lived through war and peace. We have learned from each other, and we have joined forces to make the world a better place. This is why it is so important that we celebrate this relationship as we look forward to many, many more years of a true and lasting friendship between Americans and Icelanders.